Good afternoon, my name is Mark and welcome to my Dice Tales. Today I'm going to be talking about a game called Keyforge. Keyforge. Yesterday I went to an event in the Forge Manchester, Steamforge's Games HQ, and I played in a charity event for Keyforge. The event was maybe slightly unusual in that the aim of the game was to bring your worst deck and give that for your opponent to play against you. So you would take your opponent's deck, so you'd receive an unknown deck to you, but you'd be playing against possibly deck that you know a bit more about, and they would be playing that against you. I'm new to the game, I only own 2 decks myself, and the deck that I took on the day was one called Emmett U Bumblecrow. They have a unique, all decks have a unique AI generated name. Some of them are more cooler than others. For instance, I've got another deck called the Temple's Villainess. Anyway, the deck that I brought today was a Brobnar, a Logos and Untamed deck, and it was very creature heavy. Other people that played it, and as you can see in the time lapses, it really spreads out quite heavily on creatures. I think it's got about 20 plus creatures, which I think from the more experienced players, they said that was quite a lot, and they were quite impressed by the table spread it created. So on the day, I actually went about 50-50. I think I won 3 of my 6 games. So it was a round robin event. There were 6 players, so you played 6 games, and obviously the winner of those games is declared the winner of the tournament. It was a very casual event. As I'm a new player, my opponents were very gracious. The game is all about playing your cards in a certain order to get certain benefits, and there was a few times in the early games, the first few, I got better by the last 3 games, but maybe the first 2 or 3, still being new to the game and not having that much official tournament experience, I made a few mistakes, and they were very polite in letting me take back cards and play them in a better order for me. So they give them a better game as well, to be honest. So that was a nice takeaway of the friendliness of the local players. The local players do meet fairly regularly as well. I think every Wednesday there is a tournament run at the Forge near the Trafford Centre, Steamforge Games HQ, and also at Fanboy 3 on Friday nights, I believe, is the other venue in my local vicinity. As I mentioned, I've only played a little bit myself. If you've watched one of my other videos, I had an all-day gaming event, and there was a Keyforge game event going on. Someone had a buy, which meant they were sat out and just watching the tournament. So instead of them being sat out, I actually joined them for a game, and they showed me the ropes. So that got me hooked. I've been missing my Netrunner since that got cancelled, and I think this is a nice pick up and play game. So Netrunner, you need to invest more, you need to deck build, and it probably has more theme in the game. Building wise, I really got behind a particular faction in that one, the Shapers. So this game doesn't have that. It has 6 factions in this game, but you don't really choose what you play or how it's going to play. When you get a deck, it's going to have 3 factions in it, but even the cards from those factions are going to be random and how they interact. So every deck is going to feel differently, and it's all about finding a deck that you like the play style of, that you think is good. Yesterday I did find out that there are websites which are attempting to rate decks and say how good they will be. After the event, I actually plugged my 2 decks into that system, and my 2 decks came out about a score of 50. I don't know what it's out of. I'm assuming it's a score of 100. So I've got sort of 50-50 decks. But they did say to take that with a pinch of salt. It's not. They try and look at certain combinations and how they'd interact, but it doesn't. It's not a be-all and end-all. Sometimes piloting a deck and playing a deck, you're going to get a better feel of what's good, and it's all about the exploration in this game, on getting a deck and seeing how it plays. On the day, so I think I won about 50-50, and the games where I lost, I felt like I was close to winning. If I had another turn, I would have been forging my third key and winning. That sort of closeness and tightness. There was only one deck which was really abysmal. I just didn't get any synergies going. I don't know if it was luck of the draw sometimes, but I think overall that deck didn't win anything on the day. So I don't want to say there are bad decks out there. And for my first Keyforge video, I don't want to put a down on the game because it's really enjoyable, it's really light, it's really fun. I was a bit off on no deck building, because deck building brings you the story and theme, but it's also, you don't have any of the stress of deck building as well, so it's really, you can buy a deck on the day, enter a tournament, and you can do just as well as anyone else really on the day. You're not at any disadvantage in doing that, other than your own knowledge of the cards and how they best play, and that's just going to come by playing lots of different people and experience. So on the day, I came 4th out of the 6. On the day, I also won a playmat. I won the Sanctum playmat. There was just a random charity, so I luckily got the random draw and won a playmat, so that's very nice to turn up to your first tournament event and come away with a prize like that. And obviously the winner of the tournament got a playmat. I think there were deck boxes and tokens on offer to winners and second place, etc. as well. And the entry fee for the tournament went to charity. So on the day there were 6 players. A player called Rachel won the game. And they're a very big player. They also own their own online shop for Keyforge. I'll see if I can get a link to that below. And their shop lets you type in the name of a card that you want, and they open their boxes but keep them sealed in their cellophane, so they come a little bit like this but in cellophane. And as you can see, you can read all the cards that would be in this deck, and they will let you choose a deck, and we'll try and find a deck with a particular card that you want. I don't know who is that invested in the game or thinks that they'll find a good deck that way, but maybe there's a playstyle that they want, and that's why instead of just buying random cards and not getting what you want, if you wanted a Mars deck, you could even just buy a game with a deck with a specific faction that you want. So I own 2 decks, and I don't own any Mars or Sanctum factions in my 2 decks, so that might be another reason I would seek out other decks, just to get familiar with those other factions. But I'm probably going to wait until I play sealed events. I think I've got a sealed tournament coming up next month, where you buy a deck and play with a sealed deck, so you don't know what you're getting that day, and obviously you get better and better with your own deck, where this tournament was a bit of a twist, because you're given a new deck every round, but you're playing against a deck that you should know. Every game was really close, as I mentioned. I felt close to winning even when I lost, and it was a great fun day. Everyone was very pleasant. Everyone was very newbie friendly, so the game is a lot about playing cards in a particular order, and they were very friendly and pointed out if you do redo the order of those cards, you'll get a better benefit. You'll get more Ember or draw more cards or have less damage done to my own board state. So very friendly crew. So in the time lapses behind, I'm on the yellow Sanctum mat, the one with the knight figure. I'm always on that mat. That's the mat that I won, and my opponents are on the other side. You'll often see their side spread out. So the deck that I brought was very creature heavy. It has Brognar creatures, which generally do damage to everything on the table. It has a Coward's End card, which can wipe the table and basically reset the board state to having no creatures. It has Logos cards, which lets it draw more cards. So often you're just drawing up to 6 cards at the end of your turn. Logos could draw up to 8 sometimes in some of the games that we played. And they also have an archiving ability. That was a great takeaway from the day as well, seeing the more experienced players play with my deck and then show me tactics which I hadn't seen when I've been just playing with my brother. One of their tactics that is my best takeaway was the archiving ability of Logos. So what that means is basically you can take a card in your hand and put it down into archives. At the start of your go, you can say, right, I'm pulling all the archives into my hand. And what that experienced player did, they put all their untamed cards. So basically they were playing out into the playing field their Logos and Brobnar cards, which are good fighters and then good card drawers, etc. But using the Logos cards to archive their untamed cards. So should they have to play a board wipe card like that Coward's End one, which gets rid of lots of creatures, or your opponent doing something similar to you, then they could access their archives and they would have a handful of untamed and could quickly have a board full of creatures again, and overcome a speed bump or have a speed boost back into the game. So that was a great takeaway tactic that I've never considered before. And that's that. So yeah, very friendly people, very newbie friendly, really helped me out. And as I say, watching experienced players play, and their advice after the games, they would often say, "Oh well, the deck that you've got is better and does this kind of thing." And I saw when I got given this deck that this might be a good tactic to go down, so I got their insights and I found that very useful. At the end of the tournament, we just had a bit of a chat about what makes a good deck and a bad deck, and the current, I think the word is the meta, seems to be the best players or the winning decks are the ones that have shenanigans such as key denial, so maybe cards that would steal your opponent's ember so they couldn't forge a key on their turn, or ones that make the keys more expensive so they need more ember so they can't forge a key on their turn. That came away as the key takeaways from that discussion. And then they went on to discussing other opponents' decks that they'd come across on the Vault tours online on a program called the Crucible, etc. And certain combos that they've seen and how to defeat certain combos. So some people have described the game as a little bit rock, paper, scissors. I don't quite see that yet in my newness, my fresh eyes to the game. I don't know what the rocks, the papers, and the scissors are exactly, but it's a great fresh card game design. No stress of deck building, and I enjoyed it. I enjoyed the tournament, and I am looking forward to other tournaments in the future. So you might see other Keyforge blogs on my channel on Dice Tales. So thank you very much for watching today, if you still are, and yeah. Thank you very much. A little bit about what's coming up. I have been playing Lord of the Rings, the Journeys in Middle-earth board game, so I'm going to try and do a similar video like this with the game playing out in the background and give my initial thoughts. I don't think I can go into a full review because I need to get deeper into the game. I'm 5 missions in there. And also a Vanguard event. I played a tournament the weekend before, and that went very enjoyable. Unfortunately, I didn't take my camera, so I didn't take any videos. I only had a few photos, so it's not going to be that long a video. But if you're into Vanguard, do subscribe to my channel and look into that a little bit later on. So I hope that was helpful to you. So remember, I've got the Rachel Players shop linked below. And also, if you're a local player or getting into Keyforge yourself, it is going to be played at The Forge by the Trafford Centre every Saturday. I think they have what's called an Unchained event most Saturdays. There's a big event coming up at the Birmingham Expo. I think there might be 300 players sign up to that. And also Fanboy 3 in Manchester has a Keyforge evening every Friday night. So if this video has wet your whistle in any way for Keyforge, check out those locations. Thank you very much, and I'll see you online another time. Thank you. Goodbye.